Right now, there are 24 million shipping containers moving across the ocean. Each one is making someone $3,000 a month, and they're not shipping anything. Empty containers sitting in a parking lot earn more than most people's salaries. Welcome to the shipping container gold rush. A single rusted metal box bought for $2,000 can generate $50,000 a year. No employees, no inventory, no maintenance, just metal and mathematics. Billionaires own thousands of them. Regular investors are buying them like real estate, and companies are paying $10,000 just to rent one for a month. This is the story of how a standardized metal box became one of the most profitable assets on Earth, and why you've never heard about it. From the billionaire leasing empires to the everyday investors cashing in, this industry moves $14 trillion in goods every year. And the people who own the boxes, they take a cut of everything. This is the hidden business of shipping containers. Before 1956, shipping was chaos. Dock workers spent days loading cargo piece by piece. A ship could sit in port for weeks. Labor costs were massive. Theft was everywhere. Then a trucker named Malcolm McLean had an idea. What if you could load cargo once, seal it in a box, and move it by ship, train, and truck without ever touching the contents? He created the first standardized shipping container, 20 feet long, 8 feet wide, 8 feet tall, made of steel, stackable, secure, revolutionary. The first container ship sailed in 1956 with 58 containers. It cut shipping costs by 90%. Loading time went from weeks to hours. The entire global economy changed overnight. Today, 90% of everything you own came in a container. Your phone, your clothes, your furniture, your car, all transported in these metal boxes. But here's what nobody tells you. The people who make the real money aren't the shipping companies. They're the people who own the containers themselves. Because shipping lines don't own most of their containers. They lease them from container leasing companies. And those companies, they're making billions. Think of it like Airbnb, but for metal boxes. You buy the container. Shipping companies rent it from you. They move it around the world. And you collect rent every single month. For years. And the best part? The container works 24/7. It doesn't need repairs. It doesn't complain. It just sits there, getting moved from port to port, making you money. Let's talk numbers. A brand new 20-foot container costs about $2,500. A 40-foot container, around $4,000. That's your entire investment. Lease it to a shipping company, and you'll charge $150 to $250 per month for a 20-foot container. For a 40-foot, $300 to $400 per month. That's $1,800 to $3,000 per year from a single container. Do the math. A $2,500 investment earning $2,000 a year. That's an 80% annual return. And containers last 20 to 30 years. So that $2,500 box will generate $40,000 to $60,000 over its lifetime. From a single purchase. But here's where it gets insane. When demand spikes, like during COVID, lease rates explode. Containers that normally rent for $200 a month, they were going for $1,000 a month. In 2021, container leasing companies made record profits. Textainer, the largest container lessor, saw revenues jump to $700 million in a single year. Triton International owns 6 million containers. At an average lease rate of $200 per month, that's $1.2 billion per month. Every month. Just from renting boxes. And they don't manage the containers. Shipping companies do that. They move them. Load them. Unload them. All the owner does, collect rent. It's the ultimate passive income. No employees. No customer service. No insurance claims. Shipping company handles everything. You just own the asset. But it gets better. When the container gets too old or damaged, it doesn't become worthless. You sell it. For scrap metal. Or conversion projects. Container homes. Container offices. Container restaurants. People pay $5,000 to $10,000 for used containers to convert them into buildings. So even at the end of its life, after earning you $50,000 in lease payments, you sell it for $5,000. You've made your money. Someone else gets a building. Everyone wins. This is why billionaires love this business. It's predictable. It's scalable. And the demand never stops. Because the world will always need to move stuff. So who actually owns these containers? The biggest players are companies you've never heard of. Triton International. Textainer. CAI International. Triton owns 6 million containers worth $20 billion. That's more containers than some countries have cars. And they're all making money every single day. But it's not just corporations. Everyday investors are getting in too. Container investment funds let you buy shares in container fleets. You invest $10,000, they buy containers, you get monthly dividends. Some funds promise 8% to 12% annual returns. They handle everything. Buy the containers, lease them out, manage the logistics. You just collect checks. And then there are the entrepreneurs. People who buy 1 or 2 containers, lease them independently, and build their way up to owning hundreds. One guy in Florida started with 3 containers in 2010. Today, he owns 400 containers worth $1.6 million, generating $50,000 a month in lease income. His strategy? Buy containers when prices are low. Lease them on long-term contracts. Wait for demand to spike. Then either keep collecting rent, or sell them for profit. During COVID, container prices tripled. People who bought containers in 2019 for $2,000 were selling them in 2021 for $6,000, while still collecting monthly lease payments. It's the perfect arbitrage. Buy low, lease high, sell higher, and in the meantime, collect monthly income. All from a metal box that never complains. But the real secret? Location. Containers in high-demand ports, Los Angeles, Singapore, Rotterdam, lease for double what containers in low-demand ports do. Smart investors track global trade routes. When a new trade deal opens up, they buy containers in that region. When demand spikes, they're already positioned. It's real estate, but for metal boxes. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. There are risks. But let's be real. Container prices fluctuate. Lease rates can drop. Shipping companies can go bankrupt. When Hanjin Shipping collapsed in 2016, they had 540,000 containers stuck at sea. Owners couldn't get them back for months. No containers, no rent. And containers get damaged, lost at sea, stuck in wrong ports. You might own a container, but if it's sitting in Bangladesh and you need it in New York, you've got a problem. That's why most individual investors go through leasing management companies. They handle the headaches. Track the containers. Negotiate leases. For a fee, of course. Typically 10% to 15% of your monthly lease income goes to management. So if your container earns $200 a month, you keep $170 to $180. And you need volume. Still profitable, but not as glamorous. One container making $2,000 a year won't change your life. But 100 containers making $200,000 a year? That's a business. That's why this industry favors big players. The more containers you own, the more negotiating power you have, the better lease rates you get, and the more diversified your risk becomes. It's not impossible for small investors, but it's harder. So what's the future look like? Global trade is growing. E-commerce is exploding, and everything still moves in containers. The demand isn't going anywhere. Some experts predict we'll need 50 million more containers by 2030. That's $125 billion in new containers. Somebody's going to own them. Somebody's going to collect that rent. And with automation, smart containers with GPS tracking, and blockchain for lease management, the industry is getting more efficient, which means more predictable returns for investors. So here's the bottom line. Shipping containers are boring. They're metal boxes. But they're also one of the most profitable, passive, scalable assets you've never thought about. And that's exactly why the people who own them are getting rich. If this changed how you see those metal boxes on ships, subscribe. Because next time, we're investigating self-storage units, where people pay $200 a month to store things they'll never use again, and how that turned into a $50 billion industry. The hidden money is everywhere. You just have to know where to look.